All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and today we are going to talk about basic discussion questions and expressions. I've made today's lesson to help you have better debates, to have better discussions. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on how to make more specific questions. So instead of just asking simple questions like what or why and so on, I'm going to talk about some grammar points and some patterns you can use to make more specific questions, so to hopefully make your discussions a little bit better. That will be part one. And then I'm also going to talk about some patterns you can use to support your ideas. It should be a good lesson. I'll end with some frequently asked questions from you. So as you join, please say hello in the chat. I see many of you there on YouTube now. Hi, everybody on YouTube. Janthony Yamaleth. Hi, Luciano MTA. Hello, Victorian. Hi, I'm Sad. Hello, David Velasquez. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I am broadcasting from my home again this week. So today we are going to use the small whiteboards again. Hopefully Facebook will join us shortly. While we wait, a couple of announcements while we wait for other learners to join today's live lesson. First, this banner at the bottom of the screen, it says Get Your Guide to Learn English at Home. Our team made a 52-page workbook, a PDF workbook you can use together with a free beginner level course on our website. You can download everything for free. Check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video if you are watching this on Facebook. You can get everything with your name and email address. So that's a beginner level course our team put together that's going through this summer. So check it out if you have not already. It should be a good kind of resource for you to study at this time. Okay, so that's part one. Part two thing that I want to talk about is, as always, if you have questions for me that are different from today's topic, if you have something that you've always wondered about, a grammar point, or if you find a weird vocabulary word and you want to know the difference, you can send them to me for this series. This is our weekly series called Ask Alicia. You can send me your questions and I will maybe answer them. You can submit your questions to englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. So you can search the English Class 101 YouTube channel to find these videos, or just do a Google search as well, and send me your questions. That would be awesome. So please do that. Okay, I see many people are in the chat now, rather. So I'm going to take away this promotional picture. Okay, I have Facebook. You are over here. I'm checking you on my phone today. So hi, everybody on Facebook. Sean and Orzalan. Hi, Elbert. Hi. Welcome, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. My name is Alicia, and we are going to begin now. So let's look at today's lesson boards. If you missed it, today's lesson topic is basic discussion questions and expressions. Let's take a look at today's lesson flow. I'm going to slow down a little bit now. Today's lesson flow looks like this. 3 parts in today's lesson. First, I'm going to talk about how to make specific questions. I know this is very small, so I'm going to read everything and we'll go through the points one by one. Then we're going to talk about a few patterns to support your ideas. That'll be part 2. Finally, part 3 for today is an FAQ. So these are questions I get from you that are about today's topic. We'll cover some preposition points. And I'll also talk about a couple questions like what's the difference questions today. Okay, so let's get started. I see everything is good on Facebook, everything is good on YouTube, everybody's ready. Fantastic. Let's begin then. I'm going to start with part 1 then. How to make specific questions. Specific. So specific, by specific, my example for this week, instead of when you're in a discussion, and you have a question, and maybe when you're learning, you say, what? or why. Like you use a very basic question word or a basic question phrase like these: who or what or where, when, why, how long, how much, how many. These are like the basic question words we use to create our questions. In today's lesson, I want to look at I'm going to focus on 3 key grammar patterns and look at how we can use those grammar patterns to make more specific, clear questions to improve your conversation skills. So I see your comments all the time, like, how do I improve my speaking skills? How do I have a better conversation? And one of the important things to consider is your question-making skills. I know that in our lessons, often we just listen to our teacher and we respond. We learn to respond, but we need to make questions naturally as well. So that's what I'm going to focus on. So for you watching live, and even if you're not watching live, your homework during this lesson is to send your practice questions as comments. Send it in the chat if you're watching live, or write it as a comment if you're watching this not live. So let's practice making questions for this week. Okay, so let's begin. I have 3 key patterns I want to talk about in today's lesson. Each pattern begins with question word, question word, question word, question word. So the key pattern is in blue, the explanation is in red, and the example is in black. And I hope you send me lots of your examples live today. So question word, each pattern today will begin with one of these question words. So you can choose this to start your question. Then let's look at these 3 patterns and the differences between them. First, when we use a question word plus a present tense structure. So that means we use a verb in the present tense. We use, for example, something like do, or maybe be, something like that. When we use a present tense structure after our question word, it creates a question about a current regular action or a current schedule. So, for example, when do you usually have meetings? When do you usually have meetings? So in this situation, in this example, I begin with a question word, and then my present tense structure. So present tense here is do. Another good hint is usually. This is asking about a regular action. When do you usually have meetings? Or a question like, why do you say that? Why do you say that? So these questions with present tense structures after the question word are about regular actions or current schedules. So that means when you ask these questions, you're asking about like facts, something that is true now or something that is always true. That's what we use these question patterns to do. Okay. So some examples are coming in. Fantastic. Rondinelli, I think, on YouTube. Sorry if I said that wrong. Says, how far away are you from New York? Great. Very nice. Abdullah on Facebook has one that we're going to talk about later. How long have you been a pilot? A perfect tense structure. Very nice job. Very nice job. Okay. Okay, I'm checking for your example sentences or your example questions live. Let's go to the second pattern for today. So the first pattern here covers these present tense structures, yeah? Now let's compare this to a question word plus a past tense structure. So when we use a question word like who, what, where, when, why, these words, plus a past tense structure, so that means a phrase that has a verb in the past tense, that creates a question about a past action. So something that is complete, something that is finished. So this is a very important difference between this one. This is a current situation or a fact. This is a past situation, something that is done, something that is finished, over. For example, where did you hear the news? Where did you hear the news? So some of you might say, like, why is this past? Here is not past tense. This verb right here, did. So do, present tense, did, past tense. Your helping verb changes to past tense here. This creates past tense. So this is a question about a past action. So not where do you hear the news, but where did you hear the news? Another example. Why did you say that? Why did you say that? So this question, you'll notice, is just the past tense version of this one. What's the difference? I will talk about this. I will give you the answer in part 3 today because it takes a little time. I want to compare. Okay? All right. Some examples are coming in then of the first one, the present tense example. Some of you, let's see, where do you come from? Good. Or more naturally, ask, where are you from? Where are you from? Fernanda says, what did you do last weekend? Last weekend. What did you do last weekend is the question. Some other good examples are, so some of you are asking, I see. When do you start teaching English? So that's a question about a schedule. So when do you start teaching English could mean at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday, for example. So that's a question about your current schedule. You can make it past tense too. When did you start teaching English? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and so on. Some other good examples are coming in. Rosen says, how did you do that? Good, good, good. On Facebook, Brain, hello, Brain Maher, hi, says, where did you saw her? When you make these questions, so a quick grammar review for your past tense questions, where did is great. This verb right here does not change. So the verb that gives you the action, the verb that gives you the key information, this verb does not change to past tense. So where did you see her? Where did you see her? Okay, other questions. Gizlan on Facebook says, who ate my pizza? Very good question. Very important question. Who ate my pizza? Good. Gerson says, where did you study English? Very nice. Very nice. Mahara says, when did you go to school? So for many of you are using a past tense verb here. This verb does not need to be past tense. So maybe I'll put a link in the YouTube description to simple past tense. I made a video about simple past tense grammar. It might be good to review question making there. Okay, let's go to the last pattern I want to talk about, the last question making pattern. Some of you are already practicing this. Question word plus a perfect tense structure. So perfect tense, remember those perfect tense, is have. Have plus your verb in the past participle form, yeah? So some of you have already said when, or what, there was an example that came in earlier that uses perfect tense. I have some here. So what is this? What does this question create? This makes a question about your life experience, and it may be a continuing experience, depending on the continuous or the progressive use here. For example, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? This is a casual way to say, what did you do recently? But more natural. Or, where have you been working? Where have you been working? So this part, ing, this is the progressive form. This is a question about something that started in the past and continues to the present. So again, these create questions about life experience, but the key difference, so some people are like, well, what's the difference? Why should I use perfect tense? I want to know about someone's past experience. Shouldn't I just use past tense? The difference here, past tense is about a completed action, usually at a specific point in time in the past. So, for example, this morning or yesterday. We want to know about a completed action in the past. With this, though, we don't care, or it's not so important to know when the action happened. We just want to ask about the experience. Or we want to ask about something that started in the past and is still continuing. So that's the difference between these two question patterns. Okay, I'm going to check your questions now. Manuel on Facebook says, why do you like to teach English? Why do you like to teach English? Cristiano, where have you lived? So when you make a perfect tense pattern, make sure to use the past participle form of the verb. So I'm not talking today about these specific grammar points, I'm just comparing the question making. So I'll put some links in the YouTube description after this lesson so you can review for this week. Misty says, have you taken your breakfast on YouTube? A good point. In American English, we do not use the verb take for meals. We use it for take a break. So you might hear it in take lunch, which means take a lunch break. But when we talk about eating a meal, we use eat. Have you eaten breakfast? Some other examples. Where did you learn Japanese? Oh, from school and books and media. All over the place. Okay, how long have you been living in place? Yeah, lots of you are sending this one. Good, good, good. Nice examples. Where have you been learning English? Good, nice questions. Where have you been eating lunch? Okay, that's a good question for your coworkers. Very nice, very nice. Nahid on Facebook, good question, a good example. Nahid says, where have you been last night? So the reason, change that question, not where have you been, but where did you go? Or where were you last night? Why? Because last night is a specific point in time in the past. We're not asking about a life experience. We don't care. With these, we don't really care when it happened. So please make that a past tense question. Where were you last night? Where were you last night? Okay, that is everything for part 1, how to make specific questions. This was the heavy part of today's lesson, so the rest of today's lesson will be not so heavy. Okay, good. So I'll take one quick break there. Very nice example sentences, everybody. If you are just joining, today's lesson is about basic discussion questions and expressions. I just finished part 1. We talked about different question patterns we can use to make more specific questions. Okay, so real quick too, before I move to part 2, if you missed it, there is this banner at the bottom of the screen. Our team made a 52-page PDF workbook you can download for free to use together with a beginner level course on our website at EnglishClass101.com. So check it out if you are looking for some ways to practice, especially at this time. You can take a look at that. You need your name and an email address to create an account, and then it is free to use, free to download. So check it out from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. Okay, let's go to today's lesson boards again. If you want to take a picture, do it now. So today I'm going to cover these points. We just finished how to make specific questions. Now we're going to talk about how to support your ideas. I chose a few patterns to cover, and we'll finish today with FAQ, frequently asked questions, or questions you ask me a lot about this topic. So let's get to part 2. Also, if you have not, please make sure to like and share this video so that other learners can find today's lesson. Okay, so let's continue to part 2. How to support your ideas. How to support your ideas. I chose a few patterns, a few basic patterns. I want to compare them. And again, please send me your example sentences in the chat. I will check them as best I can live and send them as comments later too, so you can practice. Okay, so let's go to the first one. First, how to support, before I begin, how to support your ideas. This means how to support your opinion. So when you're having a discussion and you share your idea, you share an opinion, it's often a good idea to give a reason for your opinion. Each pattern will introduce a way to support your opinion, to support your idea. So the first pattern is I say or I said that because. So again, there's this present tense, past tense thing. We can use both. Grammatically, both are correct, a key point here, say we use for something we often say. Said we use for something in the past, like I said it one time. That's the difference. So both are correct. Sometimes you ask me this question. What's the difference? We'll cover it again later. Okay, so for example, I say that because our data shows the information is correct. Once more, I say that because our data shows the information is correct. So what's that in this sentence? This that refers to your previous sentence. So for example, in a discussion, if I say like, our company's sales improved last month, something like that. And then the next sentence, I might say, I say that because our data shows. So that refers to the previous sentence. You might also hear people say this too. So this right here, this is important because. So here with this word, you're introducing the reason you believe the previous sentence. I say that because, so this information will change. You need to decide on this information, this end part of the sentence. I say that because our data shows the information is correct. Or I say that because I heard it on the news last week. Or I say that because a textbook that I read told me so. Okay, good. MTA says, I say that because you've got to learn about English. Good. Lucy says, I say that because he's so bad. Okay, very interesting questions. AV Insight says, I say that because, don't forget your because. This is introducing your reason, yeah? I say that, I lost it. I say that because our machine data shows the information is correct. Good. Nice examples. On Facebook, I don't see any examples yet, but many people are saying hello and hola, so hi. Okay, let's go to the second pattern. Someone told me. Key point here, told, past tense. This is a key takeaway point, especially for beginners. If you're a beginner watching, please remember this told past tense. A very common mistake I hear from learners, they use tell. Someone tell me, she tell me. Please don't forget to make this past tense. Someone gave me some information in the past. Someone told me. So a client told me about some recent changes in their company. So usually you'll see about after this. You might also see of, I suppose. But generally, you'll see about in this pattern. So another common mistake I see with this is that learners will choose a different verb. Learners will choose a different verb here. Like someone said me. What's the difference between tell and say and all these things? I have a video about it. I'll put that in the links after this too. You have lots of things to check after this lesson. What's the difference? Say, we use say to report someone's speech. When you receive information, use told me. You may also hear said to me. This, though, tell, the use of tell sounds more like one-way communication. So like your boss or your teacher giving you some information, use the verb tell to talk about that. Some examples are coming in. Fantastic. Alex says, she told me about her new job. On Facebook, hello, Kai. Sorry if I said that wrong. Says, I said that because she is a good teacher. Good. Elbert says, someone told me about the new laws. Fantastic. Cesar says, my boss told me about the new project. Nice. A nice passive example. E.g. Michael says, I was told by the manager. Great. So you can make passive structures too. Fantastic. Okay, another pizza question. You guys have lots of pizza questions today. Fernanda says, he told me about this class tonight. Very nice. Emily has a great question. How do I support ideas when I'm writing? Great question. For today, I'm focusing on discussion type questions. For writing, if you need to support your ideas in writing, you can remove, like in this pattern, you can remove this part right here. So this part, it depends. Sorry, it's hard to do. Our data shows the information is correct. Generally, you can be very direct in your writing. You don't need to say, I think or I feel. If you're writing like a paper for your school, you can just put directly like the opinion here without using I say or I said, that kind of thing. You can also use like we found if you're talking about research. Maybe that's a good topic for a future live stream, actually, like some writing points. So thanks for that question, Emily. I'll try to make a lesson about that in the future. Okay. Someone told me you had a boyfriend. Someone told me you have a girlfriend. Okay, good. That's funny. Nice example sentences. Semhar says, my manager told me I am promoted to assistant. Fantastic. Okay, you guys have great, nice examples. Let's go to the last two because time is running out. This next one is about reporting your sources, how to report your sources. So for this, I have a very common one. I heard on the news that. I have that in parentheses because sometimes people include it, sometimes people do not include it. You can choose. It's up to you. I heard on the news that crime in the city is down this year. I heard on the news that crime in the city is down this year. So key points here, your pronunciation. I heard. I heard on the news. Your preposition is on. We're going to practice prepositions at the end of this lesson too. I heard on the news that crime in the city is down this year. Monday says he told me he was going to move to Baltimore. Very nice. Okay. So I heard, one, your past tense thing, on the news. So you can change this part to a different source. Like I heard on a podcast or I heard in a song. But the key here, make sure your verb matches your source. So I heard on the news or I read in a book that blah, blah, blah. So this is a good pattern to use to report your source. Where did you get the information? Okay, let's go to the last one because time is running out. Next, this is a pattern you can use if you just want to express like an emotional reason for something. So this one, these patterns are like, you know, I got information from a source or someone gave me information or I have data. Sometimes though, you just have like an emotional reason for an idea. You can use this pattern, or of course, I think. I feel that this is not the right decision for our team at this time. I feel that this is not the right decision for our team at this time. So again, this, that, you may hear some people use it, you may hear some people not use it. Both are correct. You can totally use both. If you want to be super efficient, you can remove it, but it's very natural to use both of them. So this I feel. Other verbs you can use instead of feel could be believe or think, as I said. So these are like, again, kind of emotional reasons to support your ideas. Okay. Some examples are coming in with I heard. Great. Guy Williams says, I heard on the news that English school had started on Facebook. Really? Is that true? Mustafa says, I heard on the TV or on the television that accident was terrible. Good. The accident was terrible. So if you are reporting news, I heard on the news. If you're reporting about a past tense action, like an accident in this example sentence, nice, please make sure the verb in the information is also in past tense. I heard on the news the accident was terrible. So the accident has finished. Okay, some other examples of the last sentence here with I feel are, I feel that is not a good idea. Good, okay. I feel this is not the right way for your team this year. I feel this is not the best choice maybe for the team. Okay, nice. Some others with I heard. Good. I heard. Don't forget this D, yeah? I heard, unless you want to talk about a regular action. I heard on the news that the second stimulus checks are almost ready. Okay. Oh my gosh, it is 30 minutes after the hour. I have to go on. So this is a quick list of some patterns you can use to support your ideas. All right, so I'll finish there and then we'll go quickly. Sorry, remote control desk. We'll go quickly to the last point for today. So we'll take one more quick break. If you have not already, please do make sure to like and share this video so that other learners can find today's lesson. I'll show you again today's lesson boards one more time if you want to take a picture real quick. I just talked about part 2, how to support your ideas. Last today, I'm going to talk about some frequently asked questions from you. I will show you this one more time later at the end of the lesson too. Also, in case you missed it earlier, this banner at the bottom of the screen, if you want to check out our team's free beginner level course and download the 52-page workbook, check it out from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Okay, so let's continue on to the last part, FAQ from you. So you send me lots and lots and lots of questions. I chose a couple, mainly 3, that I want to finish today's lesson with. You send these to me like on the Ask Alicia series. First, I want to look at these 2 what's the difference questions. I talked about this a little bit earlier. What is the difference between says and said, or do and did in these patterns? So let's review these. I think these are 2 kind of key points, present versus past question. So let's look at these 2 to compare first. Someone asked me something like this. What's the difference between the president says and the president said? What's the deal here? So the difference here is when you use says, present tense, it creates a question or a statement, a regular statement, something that the president often says. The president says crazy things. Let's say that's our example sentence. The president says crazy things on Twitter. Let's say that. So says. This shows regular statement. This is something that happens often. Let's compare this to the president said. The president said. This uses past tense, yeah? So this creates a past statement. The feeling is that it was one time only. One time only. So, for example, the president said something crazy. That sounds like one time only. In like an interview or in a discussion, something strange happened. So that's the difference between said and says. So both of them, they are both grammatically correct, but they communicate different feelings. Okay? So try to send me an example sentence if you can. Let's look at one more pattern that uses this. I showed you these 2 earlier in today's lesson, but I want to review because these are very common. It's why do you say that versus why did you say that? So the same thing, we have this present tense, why do you say that versus why did you say that? So again, this one is a question about a regular statement. Why do you say that? So that means it's a question about something the other person often says, or a question about the other person's like regular opinion. Why do you say that? This question, past tense, why did you say that, is about a past statement. So like after a meeting, if your coworker said something strange or something you didn't understand, you might say, why did you say that? Using past tense because the conversation has finished. So again, both of these are grammatically correct, but the feeling is different. This is a question about a regular statement. or like another person's regular opinion, something they share a lot. This one is about a past action. Okay. Finally today, I'm going to end with prepositions. Yay, everyone's favorite. Lots of you ask me about prepositions. So I've chosen some prepositions to use with information sources. I will come to your questions in just a moment, chat. I see there are lots of examples coming in. So correct prepositions to use with information sources. I have two big groups here. One is on, the other is in. So on, we use with these kinds of things. On the news, on the phone, on the street, on the internet, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on a podcast. So these are very good ones to know, good prepositions and vocabulary words to study together. So try to study these as phrases. It's kind of tricky sometimes to try to add it later. So try to study these as phrases because they are very common. On the other hand, in a book, in an article, in a newspaper, in a tweet, in a song. So again, it can be helpful to study these as units instead of trying to remember, okay, I should use in with a song. When you study, try to put it all together in one phrase so you can practice your writing, practice writing these down too. Lastly, you can combine these. For example, in a post on Instagram or in line 10 on page 20. So you may see them combined too. But just a little preposition review to end today's lesson. Okay, now I will come to your questions. Eduardo says, I have a question with this one. What is the difference between will and going to? There is a lesson on the YouTube channel. If you don't know, we have a very big YouTube channel with many, many lessons. Please visit YouTube. Just search English Class 101 on YouTube to find all of the lessons. I have taught many, many lessons there. Please check it out. Okay. Let's see. Some of your questions, I saw a few on YouTube. Natalia says, what is the difference between on and by? For example, on the bus or by bus. So if you want to talk about riding the bus, on. Like, I am on the bus. To talk about your current location, like, where am I now? I am on the bus. Or if you want to talk about like an advertisement that you see, like a banner or a poster, you could say, I saw it on a bus. Like, I saw a poster on a bus. When you use by, it's talking about the method of transportation. Like, I'm going to travel by bus. You're talking about transportation methods. That's the difference in that case. Okay. Luz says, is it correct on the internet? Make sure you use the, on the or on the internet. Don't forget this the before that. Okay, so that is everything. I have to finish. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. So some prepositions to end today's lesson. I'll show you the boards one last time. Take a picture now. Okay, so this is today's information. We talked about how to make specific questions. We compared 3 different grammar patterns. We talked about supporting your ideas, and we covered some frequently asked questions. Hooray, good times. Okay, so next week I'll be back as usual. Next week I'm going to be here talking about modal verbs in the past with could have and couldn't have. So join me next week, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, August 5th. This year is flying by, isn't it? Should be good. So thank you very much to everybody for joining me again this week. I will put some links in the YouTube description after this lesson, so please check it out. And enjoy the rest of your week. Check out the free guide on our website. Thank you for liking, sharing, and sending me your example sentences. I will see you again somewhere on the internet soon.